Yeah, that, well, what do you want to do with Biden? I want to box him. I should be so lucky. You know what I mean? But it is the kinds of things, or, stuff that's coming out of Florida, stuff that's coming out of, Robert E. Lee had been in Afghanistan. We would have won. No, anyway. One of the reasons why I decided to talk about the need to deal with the operation and the gouging that occurs in some of the pricing of beef and chicken and other things is that that's why I think that's why I indicated to you we're going to look at whether or not there's a violation of antitrust laws and what they're doing. I think that and anyone who would prefer, as bad as things are in terms of prices hurting families now, trade this Thanksgiving for last Thanksgiving.
This conference is one of the most important meetings in history. You have the chance to make decisions and reach agreements which will characterize for generations to come. You are in a position of extraordinary power. You can change forever the trajectory that you're on. You can make a world that is once again full of hope, not fear. This is my message from Earth to come. On behalf of We the 15,
we could work together with Russia. For example, in Libya, we should be opening up the passes to be able to go through and provide food assistance and vital assistance to a population that's in real trouble. I think I'm going to try very much hard to. It is. And by the way, there's places where I shouldn't be starting off and negotiating in public here, but let me say it this way: Russia has engaged in activities which we believe are contrary to international norms, but they have also bitten off some real problems they're going to have trouble chewing on. And for example, the rebuilding of Syria, of Libya, they're there. And as long as they're there without the ability to bring about some order in the region, and you can't do that very well without providing for the basic economic needs of people. So I'm hopeful that we can find an accommodation where we can save the lives of people for example, in Libya.
In a weekend interview, Vladimir Putin laughed at the suggestion that you had called him a killer. Is that still your belief, sir, that he is a killer? And I'll continue the trend if you don't mind of asking a second question. Do you believe if he does agree to cooperate, then what kind of a challenge do you find yourself in? How would you ever trust him? And if Ronald Reagan said trust but verify, what do you say to Vladimir Putin?
To answer the first question, I'm laughing too. Well, look, I mean, he has made clear that the answer is, I believe he has in the past essentially acknowledged that he was, there are certain things that he would do or did do. But look, when I was asked that question on air, I answered it honestly. But it's not much of I don't think it matters a whole lot in terms of this next meeting we're about to have. Oh, I think it could be, but I hope in God that look, maybe I'm kidding myself. But as time goes on, the voter who is just trying to figure out, as I said, how to take care of their family, put three squares on the table, stay safe, be able to pay their mortgage or their rent, etc., is becoming much more informed on the the motives of some of the political players and some of the political parties. I mean, the idea that the American public are trying to sift their way through what's real and what's fake. And I don't think I've never seen a time when the political coverage, and I'm deeply proud of the work she's doing as First Lady with Joining Forces initiative. She started with Michelle Obama when she was Vice President and now carries on. There you go, Tim. Thank you. Thank you, pal. AFL-CIO State President. And Jeff Isaacson, United Brotherhood of Carpenters, and Don Finn, IBEW, and Robert Reiter, R-E-I-T-E-R, Reader. You know, if I can digress for just a second, last night I was on the television. I was on the telephone. And also, we've got state leadership here. Lieutenant Governor Julius here, Stratton, and the Ohio, Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. The Illinois President of the Don Harmon, State Senator Laura Murphy, State Rep. Martin Moylan, and we got great labor leaders here too. Tim, where's Tim? When you build a charging station, it's like back in the day when my grandpa worked for the American Oil Company back in the turn of in the 1920 in that area. They went from state to state convincing people that they allow them to put 20,000 gallons of gasoline under the ground. They didn't want them around.
As Joe Biden's presidency degenerates into constant crisis, the endorsements he received during the 2020 election campaign are looking increasingly misleading. We were repeatedly told by the rich and powerful back then that Biden was the type of decent character who could restore America's prestige in the world.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. In fact, we're taking a page from Terry's book when he was governor and when he'd be governor next time. We're emerging from this pandemic. We want to expand pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, millions. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it. You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. I just spoke at Dartmouth on healthcare at the medical school, or not. I guess I wasn't actually on the campus, but the people from the medical school were at the. I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. I'm not sure whether it was a medical school or where the hell I spoke, but it was on the campus. I propose, and I'm going to digress slightly. We're in a situation. The president asked me to head up a cancer moonshot. Another country and annexed a significant portion of it called Crimea. Right. He's saying that it was my boss, it was his fault. Guatemala, El Salvador, and to win and say in Honduras and say, look, I took on Putin in terms of Iraq. In terms of what was going on in Ukraine. By strengthening. By investing $100 billion in education, in global warming efforts. It's a whole range of things. We can't afford it by just beginning to reward work as much as wealth. It get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again.
A lot of people go to the store and don't feel that their wages are going as far as they want them to. Then they get mad at the gas station. They're focusing a lot of that on the White House. And you've talked about pandemic, you've talked about supply chain and Ukraine, but they're still putting that anger with the administration. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, I acknowledge, one must acknowledge, that prices are going up and that people are working hard and in many cases are worried about whether they can get through the end of the month and make it all work.
Been to Poland. I was in Romania. I've been to Europe, I think, probably at least 3 times in the last 4 months. I was in Munich, Germany, where I gave a speech at the Munich Security Conference. I was in France before that, speaking with heads of state about this issue, among many other issues, but most recently about this issue. And I will tell you, in sitting down with prime ministers and presidents, often the first thing they would say to me is thank you to the United States and this administration for bringing us together, for building the coalition, for reinvigorating the relationship between the United States and its NATO allies, reinvigorating the relationship and the importance of the relationship to the EU in terms of an issue like Ukraine, which is ultimately about one of the most important principles that we are fighting for, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
A friend in need is a friend indeed.
We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P. The plan.
Do you plan to visit the border?
Not today, but I have before, and I'm sure I will again.
I've said I'm going to go to the border. And
When are you going to the border, Vice President?
the administration has asked. I'm not finished.
We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
I'm being clear with you right now.
Yes, okay.
And so if you're interested, I'll continue to be clear. There are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. We are doing it.
But should we have done it sooner?
We are doing it.
What do you see as the biggest national security challenge confronting the U.S.? What is the thing that worries you and keeps you up at night?
Frankly, one of them is our democracy.
You don't feel misused or underused?
No, I don't. When folks vote, they order what they want, and in this case, they got what they asked for. More parents are seeing the value of educators when they had to bring their kids and saying, we're not paying them nearly enough. Hold on.
because there's an interesting fact, in case you didn't know. Hard hats are actually unisex. Everybody's laughing.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
Yeah.
I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank and our NATO allies.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. How do we get to the place where, Putin decides he's gonna just invade Russia? Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. From defending the Russian ruble, invading a foreign country, build a wall high enough to keep out a vaccine. The capacity of our economy to make computer chips.
About the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Know the little expression, time is money. As one computer said, if you're on the train and they say Portal Bridge, you better make other plans.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.